Hey, wild ones, have you ever wondered if you could live a simple life without much money, especially in a beautiful place like Borikén? Because that's exactly how I have been living. And in this video, I am going to share my journey and tell you why and how. Living on practically nothing, it's possible. And if you shift your mindset, it stops feeling like you're lacking and starts feeling like you're free. And that's something that I discovered here. I found my peace, my freedom, and my happiness with less, living life on my own terms. And living a simple life without much money isn't about lack. It's about clarity. It's the intentional choice to stop trading your time for things that don't actually make you happy. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's easy because it's not. There are struggles, there are moments when things get real, but that's part of it. And I'm not sharing this for you to live like me, but maybe to inspire you to find your own way. So let's talk about this voluntary simplicity, baby. I've been living in this paradise that is Borikén for about 16 years, and I've been on this beautiful journey of change. But I didn't come here to live this life. I came here to make money. That was my goal. I wanted to open a bar, build something, chase that idea of success. I came here with my savings and I never did open that bar, but I did DJ around the island for the first few years, making a good amount of money. At first, it felt amazing, the music, the nightlife, the energy. But here's the thing, I was making all that money, but I was never truly happy. I was just chasing happiness through the external, through the materialistic things, and it was never enough. And not only that, I started to fall out of love with that whole lifestyle. The constant partying, the drinking. It started to feel empty, like I was going through the motions, chasing something that was never truly there. I felt like I was spiraling out of control. I started to spend more time in nature. And for those that don't know, I come from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. Forget about it. Constant noise, concrete, constant chasing, living life in such a rush that I didn't realize that I was rushing to my own death. Nature, for me back then, it was nothing but a foreign concept. But here, something started awakening inside of me. A different perspective, a different mindset. I began this voyage to find happiness within, not out there, not in money, not in things, but deep, deep inside myself. And that has been my journey. The one many refuse to take, the journey inward. Dun, dun, dun. And I started to question everything. So I walked away from that party life. I decided to start taking control, not just of my life, but of my mind. I left all that money on the table to do something with meaning, something with purpose. And since 2013, I stepped into something that felt aligned with that. I started to see how the beaches and the rivers would get trashed, and I felt a calling to do something about it. So I became the self-imposed guardian of the beaches, walking with many signs, raising awareness, cleaning the beaches, giving back to the land. And that was teaching me how to live as nature became my teacher. And you could check out the video on what I do for the beaches, link in the description. And the more time that I spent in nature, the more things became clear. And I started to notice how everything seems to revolve around money, how it became the blood in our veins, keeping our lives pumping. Pop, 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 pop. We chase money more and more, yet still there's no satisfaction. I saw how humanity was poisoned by greed, and greed is nothing but a distraction. It keeps us so busy chasing the illusions of a good life that we forget to actually live. And choosing simplicity is a way to stop being a collector of materialistic possessions and start experiencing the richness of life fully and intentionally. Notice the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sounds of the waves crashing on the shore, the laughter of a friend, the taste of a fruit you grew with your own hands. And life is not in the things you own, it's in the moments you inhabit, the sensations you feel, the connections you make. When you stop chasing objects, you start living experiences that truly feed your soul. And that is priceless, baby. Most of us aren't truly living. We move through a life someone else designed for us, carrying obligations, chasing illusions, maintaining a rhythm we never chose, trapped in a cage of our own making, running in circles, conforming to this rat race. And that hit me, not as a thought, but as a weight, a quiet truth that settled into my bones. And I began to realize that the more layers of stuff and status we wrap around ourselves, the further we drift from our true nature. So I made a decision to let go, to start peeling away the many layers of conformity that had been placed on me since I was born. The belief that success means money, the belief that happiness comes from owning more, and the belief that we are always having to chase something. And as I let those layers go, I began to feel a space open inside of me, a quiet space where the noise of the world no longer reached, a place where I could simply exist, where I could feel, where I could notice life as it really is, raw, simple, unfiltered. And when I let go, I started living off my savings. But I just didn't sit around. I started to work in different farms around the island, learning how to grow my own food, learning from the land, learning a completely different way of living. And little by little, I saved what I could. And eventually, with the little that I had, I got the deal of a lifetime, baby. And I was able to buy my own land. And this is where I live now, where I am creating a beautiful sanctuary, one of peace, happiness, and freedom. And here, now I live off the grid with one solar panel, one battery. I collect rainwater. It's simple, but it's enough. No refrigeration, no AC. You know, I grow a beautiful food forest here, and I'm working towards becoming fully self sufficient. And living this life makes it much easier to live a simple life because I don't pay rent. I really don't have any bills. I'm back in Brooklyn. I wouldn't be able to live this simple life. I was even homeless, living in poverty at one point in my life. I talk about that in another video, link in the description. That kind of environment gives you a different mindset. It teaches you how to survive. It's a dog eat dog world, cutthroat. Everything feels like a competition. Everyone trying to get on top and stay on top. But I'm always grateful for the lessons because those lessons made me stronger, wiser, and more resilient. In the concrete jungle, I learned how to survive. Out here in the real jungle, I learned to survive in a different way. I became Tarzan, living completely barefoot for the last 10 years, running through rivers and forests, climbing trees, feeling the earth beneath my feet, and embracing the wild fully. Where before I had been so tamed. As I mentioned in my previous videos, Brooklyn was nothing but my cage. And here in Borikén is where I found my freedom. I reclaimed my relationship with the social construct known as time. In a high consumption world, time is treated like something to be spent or optimized for profit. But in a simple life, time becomes something you actually inhabit. And I know many people will say, why don't you just get a job? But once you see through the illusions of this system, it's hard to go back. I refuse refuse to sell my time just to stay stuck in a cycle going nowhere. I do have a job, as I mentioned before, caring for the beaches, cleaning them, protecting them. I don't get paid for it, but I do it for the love of Mother Earth and Borikén. And my other job, of course, is working this land, growing food, living this hibaro kind of life, and tending to a farm is no easy task. And I do this alone. It takes dedication. Every single day you have to show up and work the land. Maintaining a food forest means constantly putting in your energy, constantly giving back, constantly nurturing what you're trying to grow. And this is what I have chosen to dedicate my time. Because if I was working some random job, I would not have the time to be here. Things would start to get overgrown. The land will suffer. So I rather dedicate my time in doing this. Eventually, it will produce more. Eventually, I will be able to make more income from the things that I grow. But it does take patience. And that's the part that many people struggle with. And that's why many don't invest their time in growing. And of course, my other job is doing tours to beautiful beaches and beautiful rivers for others to connect more deeply to nature as I guide them through the magic that is Borikén. If anybody's interested in a tour, you could check out my website for that. But my tours are made for others to connect more deeply to nature. And now I could go back to being a DJ, but I don't like being around alcohol. I quit drinking 10 years ago. And besides, I found my peace and quietness. I can't go back to that environment. I'd rather choose a path with purpose, with meaning in this world. A job to me isn't about selling my time just to survive. It's about giving my energy to something that actually means something, something that feels right in my spirit. My reward isn't a paycheck. It's waking up every day with peace and clarity and living in alignment. And you just can't put a price on that, baby. You know, right now, I get by with very little money. But I understand that this world, we still need it. So I'm learning to work with it without letting it control me, to find that balance. But as I said, life comes with struggles. Right now, my car gave out on me, and I need a new vehicle that I use to clean the beaches, to walk with my signs, raise awareness, and handing out free bags, and to run my tour company. And without it, things become difficult, especially since there's no real public transportation here. And a car isn't a want on my list, it's a major need. Without it, I'm not able to move the way I need to. And I've truly seen the presence that I make when I'm walking with my signs in the beaches. The beaches always stay cleaner. And I just don't care for them once in a while. I care for them every time that I go out there 3 or 4 times a week because I refuse to allow these beautiful, enchanting places to be disrespected and turned into landfills. So right now I'm working towards getting a new one. And it's not easy, but I am so grateful for all those who have supported me, who have donated. That love and support means everything to me. And if anyone wants to help me get back out there being the guardian of the beaches, I do have a GoFundMe open. And for anyone who donates over $100, I will personally take you to a beautiful waterfall or a beautiful beach that I care for. Any support is deeply appreciated. But I will always find a way because that is part of this path. Because this journey isn't about having everything figured out. It's not about being perfect. It's about choosing a different way to live, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's uncertain. I may not have much money, but I have everything that I need because my richness is not defined by materialistic things. My richness is life, the sunsets, the rainbows, the flowers, the simple beauty of this existence that so many overlook because the most beautiful things in life aren't cheap, they're free. If you can't be happy with a sunset, you can't be happy with a super yacht. Living here in this paradise, what I call heaven on earth, I've learned that material possessions, amassing money, don't make us rich because I'm rich in spirit, baby. Rich in the beauty of life, being able to witness and experience all the magic that is found in every inch of Borikén. And out here, I reconnected with my inner child. As you've seen in my videos, I get to release that part of me to play again, to run around barefoot and free, to go on these beautiful adventures, and to fill my life with joy, curiosity, and wonder. Because the ultimate status symbol isn't a loud car, a big giant house, it's a quiet mind. Living simply is how I afford the luxury of silence in a world that never stops shouting. And now I choose to live a life full of meaning, depth, and truth. Because we only have one life, and I won't wait till I'm 65 to start living it. I'm choosing to live it now, fully, as happy as can be. And now this life might not be for everyone. Many of you have responsibilities, families that make it much harder. And that's okay. But it is up to each and every one of us to carve our own path, to find ways to live the life that we truly want. It takes courage, it takes boldness, and it takes the willingness to step into the unknown without fear. Because on the other side of that courage is freedom, happiness, meaning, a life lived fully on your own terms. So ask yourself, what layers can you let go of? What illusions are holding you back? How can you start living more fully today, right now? If everything you owned was taken away tomorrow, who would be the person left standing there? And just some things to ponder. So I hope you found some inspirations in my words. Please drop any comments down below because I would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't. And if you find this video insightful, please share. I look forward to continuing to share more of my thoughts and perspectives and my adventures and my radically wild life. Until the next time, stay wild, everyone. Whoa.